it's ridiculous, and no one will ever do that again. And I can't think of any other feat in sport that's got even close to that.
I mean, John, it is an obsessional focus tied up in an absolute bodily commitment to be this good for this long. Just explain the mechanic of a professional sportsman who can be in 14 finals and win them. It's just unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I've been around some great champions in my time. I was married to a great one.
Lloyd, Chris Evert,
who won multiple Grand Slams as well. And I played against Jimmy Connors, who for me had the greatest mental sort of attitude for a man that I've ever seen, a fighter. But they all get blown apart, in my opinion, by Rafael Nadal. I've never seen anybody with a desire to win as much as this person. I just don't know what sort of fuels the fire, because he just keeps on coming back with injuries, whatever's thrown at him, and these players are throwing a lot at him. He just seems to repel them, and he just comes back for more, and his thirst is amazing. And one of these days he's going to wake up and he's just going to say, you know what, I'm done. And I hope it's not for a while, because it's been a pleasure and a privilege to watch him. But at the moment, it's mind-boggling.
Which begs the question, as you just say, he's going to wake up and say he's done. And there's that very famous Bjorn Borg incident, isn't there, where after the 6th final, where he lost to John McEnroe, I think he phoned up Mark McCormack, who was his agent, his manager at the time from IMG, the legendary Mark McCormack, and said, I can't practice today. And Mark knew immediately that just by practicing and not being able to practice, because he was an obsessional practicer, he was never going to be seen again. And he did attempt to come back. It was no good against Henri Leconte, and he never really played at the highest level again. Mentally, can Rafa Nadal live the life of a civilian after tennis?
Well, to be honest, that's one of the hardest things for ex-pros.
Yeah.
No matter how successful you are, I mean, obviously, Rafa certainly won't have to worry about where his next meal's going to come for. He could have about 10 lifetimes and not have to worry about that. But you know, where do you get that fire when you wake up in the morning after I mean, for the first 6 months, 9 months, I'm sure he'll be playing golf and fishing and doing all that stuff. But after a while, it's in your blood. You know, to get up and to train and to have a purpose. I mean, obviously there'll be many things. I'm sure he'll have a family and so on and so on, and there'll be other business things. But it's tough to copy what he's done in that sort of feeling. And that's why a lot of pros in all sports continue to play, where some people would say, well, he or she's a bit past their sell date. Well, not in their eyes, they're not. They still get the rush from maybe playing that one great match again, where they go out there and they're in the zone. And if that's what keeps them going, then long may it continue.
I always remember when Roger Federer thought his career was at an end around 2015. He suddenly started winning the Australian Open again. I think he won Wimbledon again. And he realised, oh, yeah, I think my idea of retirement, I'm going to put it on ice, which he did for another couple of years. I mean, these guys, are they propelled by each other, or is it totally about themselves?
Well, I think it's a combination. They just have this drive. That separates the good players from the great. I mean, if I'm going to, I'll just talk about myself very briefly.
Yes, I want to hear about that.
I was a good player, but to be a great player, you've got to have something special. And it's not, of course, it's strokes and all that stuff and physicality and speed. But the main thing that separates good from the great is the mental side, that will to win. And these guys have got it beyond belief. But and obviously some of the women do as well, just as many. But I do believe that records are something that also makes them strive. And no matter I always love it when you get someone like Rafa and Roger. And Novak's the only one of the three, actually, I think was totally honest a couple of years back when people were asking about whether he was chasing the record to be the GOAT, so to speak, of winning the most slams. And he said, yes, I am. Whereas Rafa and Roger always played it down and said, oh, no, we're not really that concerned about it. Well, that was a load of nonsense. Much as I love them both, that's just lies. Players are driven by records. It's what they live for. Yeah. And, you know, whatever Rafa says, I mean, he knows if he wins tomorrow, he's 2 above Novak. And for Novak to win 2 to even equal him and 3 to beat him is not going to be easy. And believe me, Rafa's thinking about that.
So, John, I listened to a fascinating podcast of yours with Keith Fraser, the Rock and Roll Tennis podcast, where you talked actually in frank terms about that killer instinct, about the fact that actually if you had a little bit of that, Rafa Nadal, you could have been a Wimbledon champion. You did get to the Australian Open final. You could have been a Grand Slam final. Do you have any regrets about that while you were young, not to have done that? Would you have been different now?
Oh! I have regrets all the time, even now. Yeah, even now, when I sort of hit with some of the younger players, or if I get to it, if they ever do ask for advice, I always say, don't finish this game, whatever your ranking is, whether it's 400 or you get to college, a college education out of it, a college scholarship, make sure that you've given it 100%, because then there's no regrets. And I do have regrets about that. I don't think even with 100%, I would have won a slam singles, but I think I certainly could have made top 10. And it's one of my great regrets, because it's a very, very short career in the scheme of things. I mean, Rafa was 36 now. He's got an awful lot of years ahead of him after he finishes. It goes quick. And a lot of players are in their 20s and, they're casual and they're making good money and they think, there'll be a next year and then a next year. All of a sudden you wake up and you're 30 and 30 plus and it goes quick. So you just got to work hard and you still can enjoy yourself, but there's a combination, and I got the combination wrong. I had too much fun and not enough practice, and that doesn't work.
Yeah. And talking of someone who has many, many years ahead of her, but it could be gone in a moment, is someone who has achieved beyond her wildest dreams at such a young age, and she faces the grass-court home crowd for the first time since then, and that is Emma Raducanu, the reigning US Open champion. I mean, and as if to demonstrate her rise to fame, I mean, it was only last year at Wimbledon where she retired in the second week with the sort of yips, with this idea of a sort of slight panic attack, the kind of the idea she'd never been there before. And this is only her second Wimbledon, where she's the reigning US Open champion. Please tell me, John, she's not a one-trick pony.
No, I don't believe she is, but I do think that she's certainly having a few problems this year, but to a certain extent that was expected, because what happened was beyond belief. It was a rocky kind of film, really. And no one expected it. She didn't. And all of a sudden this thing happens. And then players adjust. People start to learn how to play. Coaches have plans on how to. And for Emma, she's taken on a lot more responsibilities and things just change. And she's still growing. I mean, she's still almost like a baby on the tour, so to speak. So there's a learning process. I don't believe she's I don't like to say one-hit wonder, because if you win a Grand Slam, that isn't bad anyway. No, to have won a Slam is an amazing title, and you're a great player if you win one, let alone multiple. Yeah. But I do believe she will win more. But I'm concerned about some of the things that's going on. I'm concerned with her swapping coaches around every 2 seconds. I don't believe it's the right thing to do. I know some people say, she's using these coaches as sort of a sponge. She's getting all the information out of them, then going to the next. I don't think it works that way in tennis. I don't believe it's the right recipe for success. I think it was a mistake to have ended her relationship with Nigel Sears at the start of when she had won the 3 rounds at Wimbledon, and then a bigger mistake as well to have got rid of Andrew Richardson after winning the US Open. And I think this chopping and changing is not helping her. But I think there's something special about her internally. I think she's got that winner's attitude, and I do believe that she'll make a comeback and win more slams, but I don't think it's going to be this year.
Not immediately. Sure. Well, John Lloyd, it's been an absolute pleasure as always to speak to you, and good luck. Enjoy the tennis, the grass court season, which is of course upon us. It's going ahead in Eastbourne and Nottingham and Birmingham, and then Queen's Club, and then Wimbledon, which of course very surprisingly has no Russians this year and no ranking points, but I don't think it diminishes at all, does it, the prospect of a great Wimbledon Championships. That is the great John Lloyd. This is Talk TV. My name's Jonny Gould. We're going to go and talk about the Ukraine war after this short break for the weather, the news and the travel. This is Talk TV. Good afternoon. My name is Jonny Gould. Speak soon.